Hey guys, what is up? It is the one and only Prime Time here, and today we're going to be looking at another PvZ. I was sort of considering starting my PvP series and show you guys some builds in the PvP matchup that I like, and I was also thinking about putting out some videos of just some team games of somebody else playing, not me. I wouldn't have seen them before. But they are master level games, so if you want to see those, then well, I'm probably just gonna put a couple of them up anyway. You guys let me know what you think. But anyway, so let's introduce the players. So in the top right, it is me, and in the bottom left we have Fuzzy. I'm not sure. By the way, this is from the playhem tournament, and I'm not sure if he's on Team Complexity, but I know he's training at their academy, whatever that means. To be honest, I don't really know. But he's training at the Complexity Academy, you know. So, and actually, if you saw the one of Husky's latest videos, he casted a free-for-all, and Fuzzy was actually in it. It was a Team Complexity free-for-all in Heart of the Swarm. And Fuzzy was actually in it, and he was actually the first to die off, but he is pretty good. All right, obviously he's on the verge of being pro. He was ranked 66 Grandmaster at the time of this game, so he's definitely pretty good. But anyway, so this is Cloud Kingdom, and I am gonna be doing my pretty much standard PvZ strategy in this game. Nexus on 15, and then you can see, even though he went spawning pool first, this is still a safe build to do. It might not seem like it would be, but that's just how it works out. And with this build, I don't really try to pylon block him. I just try to delay it with my probe. And you can see he was ready to take a third base anyway, in case I did do that. But Gateway first, and then Forge, both on 15 supply. And yes, I will be sort of covering this in an analytical way, as well as just showing this game, because it was a pretty cool game. I don't want to spoil who wins or loses, but I think you guys have an idea. So, and then another pylon back here, just in case this gets killed off, you can still have these buildings powered. But yeah, so Fuzzy's just doing a standard pool first hatchery, and I'm doing my own little PvZ builds, which, I kind of want to cast this game just to show you sort of how this weird zealot pressure works against the best players on the North American ladder anyway. So we're gonna get to see that together, and just see exactly how cost effective it is to send the 6 zealots with the +1 attack upgrade, charging down your opponent's natural. Anyway, sorry, it is a little bit sensitive. I'm trying to like center the screen on stuff, but my sensitivity is so high, and I don't bother changing it because I don't want to like have different sensitivity when I go back to playing. But anyway, we should see a third base any second now from Fuzzy, and that's why my probe is coming in here to scout. You do want to check for a third. Now, the top players, like Grandmaster players, they're pretty unlikely to do any 2-base all-ins, just because like players do that when they can't really win the macro game, but you're not going to be in Grandmaster if you can't really play out the macro game. So here it goes at the 5:30 minute mark, a little bit late, which is why I'm sending another probe up here to make sure. As I said, it's unlikely that he would do this, but in these playhem tournaments, he knows that I'm only master, so he could choose just to try to end the game quickly, and try to rush me. So whether or not that would work is to be determined, but he's going to play it out safe, and he's just going to grab his third base at 5:30. Usually, the pro players will, in this matchup as Zerg, will take their third base at, a little bit after the 4-minute mark. Well, probably more around the 4:30, to be honest. But I have been seeing it later and later for some reason. I don't really know why. So just be a little bit more observant with your scouting. Persistent. Just make sure you see the third base before you continue on with your build. But nevertheless, all 4 gas are down. and still on one gateway. And I believe, did he see all these gas? Because that's one main reason, and he did. One main reason why this actually works is because your opponent sees one gateway and all 4 gas are taken. So, as a zerg player, you're just going to expect not a whole lot that could come out in terms of aggression. So my zealots are just now moving out at the 7:20-minute mark. I believe I did make one small mistake. If you look at the units tab, just so we can see the worker count, he is pretty far ahead. But he does need to saturate his third base because he's just oversaturated as natural. But here come the zealots now. I'm guessing he's got a pretty good idea of what's coming. So if you look at the production tab, the one time I hide the production tab, it actually matters. So let's see what happens here. To follow up, I have the +1 armor coming as well as the Robo and the Stargate. But these Zerglings aren't really going to do much, so we need to see more roaches coming, and that is exactly what he's got on the production tab. A couple Zealots hacking away at the hatchery. Since he's pulled the drones, you got to sort of just understand that you're not going to get the hatchery. A good job kiting with this one roach. I wasn't really paying attention, so we did distract 3 of my Zealots long enough so that he could reinforce his natural. And you can see he had like 9 more roaches coming, which is actually a little bit unnecessary, a little bit overkill. So we'll see if he decides to do a counterattack or not. 2 sentries are at my my wall, and okay, so he has, how many is this? 12 roaches out right now, so that is quite a bit since I'm not going to be sending any more aggression to him in a while. So again, we'll see what he chooses to do with that. Looks like he's gonna do something here, probably poop some creep, would be my guess, and there he goes. Phoenix is coming out right now to scout, and just the standard 4 gateways are coming up. The Robo is producing Immortals, getting a Void Ray out as well, and I'm gonna get Blink started whenever I can really afford it. You don't want to get it too early just because, well, I have no stalkers to even use it, so there's that to always consider. Now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to see nothing, really. He has a lair tech, but he has no macro hatchery, he doesn't have 2 evos, he doesn't have an infestation pit or a spire. And so at this point I really don't know what to think. I guess if you see this sort of, if you see this, I don't know. They sort of need something. Unless they're taking an earlier 4th base, but it doesn't look like he is going to do that. And he's not even grabbing all the gas, so it's not like he's preparing to go into some crazy tech play. So, anyway, hold that thought though, because he's finally putting these roaches to use. It looks like he did produce a few more, and we do see a spire on the production tab. The Phoenix is going back in, so hopefully I will see this, but honestly I don't know where he put it. Alright, so it's right there. So we will see if I do see that, but it looks like my Phoenix is just parked out here for now. And in the meantime, though, I am getting prepared to take my 3rd base, and I did kill that Overlord, by the way, so that creep will go away in a little bit. Changeling's going to be sneaking on by. Usually, while these buildings are sort of like, after they've been constructed, I don't really care if my opponent scouts me. And, you know, doing this sort of build, you won't really be able to kill, like, the Overseers and stuff in the earlier part of the game, like while you're making your Robo and Stargate and Twilight, but because you do go for all those different tech paths, it doesn't really matter if they see you. And I did see that Spire, by the way, so we will see how I choose to react to that. Now the Spire was a little bit late, so normally I would say go for another Stargate and just pump Phoenix, but we will see exactly what I choose to do here. Since this Spire was a little bit late, it's much easier to defend mutas with just Blink Stalkers. And I would always suggest throwing up cannons, but actually I saw the Spire, but I don't have any cannons coming up, so maybe I didn't even realize that it was there. And I have no idea what that is. But, so it looks like he is yet to expand, and, okay, so Macro Hatch is down. No second Evo, that's a little bit strange. Let's see, does he have these gas? Yeah, okay, so he's gotten these pretty recently, so he probably couldn't afford double upgrades going. But we do see more and more mutas on the production tab. Not a ton, it's not overkill or anything, but he is going to be putting on some pressure with them. And actually, okay, so there's the second Evo chamber. And he is grouping up outside my third base, so it looks like he's going to be doing a push. It's sort of strange to get Mutalisks if you're just going to be pressuring the third base. But I guess it does force me in this situation to split up my army so I can actually deal with these mutas. And yeah, I did not see that Spire constructing, so now I'm just now realizing there are mutas coming. And here they are. He sees a lot of stalkers, so he's just going to come in with this huge ball of roach laying. His supply is heavily favoring that of mine, and he could snipe this Nexus if he chooses to stay, but he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to risk it. I do have the +2 attack, so he would lose quite a few units there. But killing a third base, denying a third base as a Zerg player is always nice. But here we go, laying down the OP force fields. The Immortal's going to work on those roaches, and looks like he is going to have to back out here. He does kill all my sentries, although I think I only had 2, so not a huge win. And a little bit of an unfortunate rally. He was expecting to be pressuring that for a little bit longer, I think. So, or being a little bit more successful with that attack. And I do have 5 Blink Stalkers stuck. That's great. But he won't be attacking into that at least. So hopefully I realize that sometime soon. And he just got more Lings, and I don't know how many more mutas he made, but he is continuing to produce them. And I think he just wants to keep map control. He wants to be able to expand freely and not worry about any sort of attacks that might be coming. And but then again, you know, as a Protoss player, you've got to feel pretty comfortable having 3 bases up. But here we go, Lings, Roach, Muta, none of which are too devastating of a unit, and this one Colossus is definitely going to have its work cut out for it. But you can see it's racking in the Zergling kills. And he's going to be forced to retreat once again. Force fields there would have been nice, but, you know, as Protoss, you've really got to be careful what you spend your gas on. And that's sort of why you see a lot of players, they will get a lot of sentries early on, and then after that, just not make many, because they need to be getting those tier 3 units out as fast as possible. And I should be getting these next 2 gas, and there they go. So he's sort of given up, it looks like, on trying to take down my third base, and at this point, you know, as a Zerg player, and I guess it's good to note, sort of realize this as a Protoss player, you know, their best chance to kill your third is like while it's constructing or right after it is done producing. And the reason for that is because usually that's when the Zerg player can have a huge supply lead and really just overwhelm you. So you've really got to rely on either photon cannons to help defend, force fields to help defend, or just anything really you can sort of manage to pull out. But he's not done going for this third. This is a little bit overzealous, I think. And there he goes. He's going to back off. His upgrades really need to be a little bit better too. But here we go. He's going to be making his next move. He is producing some Banelings. He does not want me to have this third base. But with 2 Colossus, and by the way, I've had an Observer here the whole time, and this is something that really has helped me out. This is something I would definitely suggest doing. You can see I have one here and I have one here. He doesn't know that, but obviously, since I do see his entire army composition, I also think that I can just kill this, so I just move out to go fight him. You just notice I also warped in some Zealots to absorb the Baneling hits. Now, it ended up being not a good idea to move out, even though it looks like I can push this back. Still, just let him come to you. Cloud Kingdom is one of those maps that's really easy to take the third base and secure it. So use that high ground advantage, just like in Tomb Valley, to your advantage. And we can see I got a little bit aggressive there. But while all this is happening, Fuzzy is taking another base. Is he getting up to Hive? Okay, he's just starting it right now. A little bit late, actually really late on the Hive, but that's because he's been doing a lot of pressure. Usually your opponent can get Broodlords up at like 18, 17 minutes if they're going straight macro. Obviously that's going to be pretty delayed this game. He is sending mutas around the backside. I did see that with this Observer, and here we go. A lot of Blink Stalkers moved up into position, and my Observer is also going to see those mutas leaving, so that'll cue my Stalkers to go back down to the low ground. And my upgrades are at 3-2. His upgrades are at 2-1, so a very good upgrade lead right now. And he is just continually streaming units, albeit Zerglings, but nevertheless, he is streaming units to this front line, and it looks like he's going to do another push. Is he? I mean, this really doesn't seem like much of a bigger army than we saw that last push. But we'll see what he chooses to do. It's going to be a little bit, I don't know, he's getting near, he is maxed out actually, so maybe that's what he's thinking. He's thinking he just wants to trade armies, keep my army, you know, whittled down so it's not a death ball. But here we go, he's going to sign both Colossus, so that was a good pickup right there. And he is going to get out of there with the Mutas. So he didn't really take too big of losses, and he set my Colossus count back down to 0. And that's something that you might want to consider, is building a second robo facility, especially when your Colossus count gets knocked down to 0. I would say go ahead and construct a second one, but you can get by with just one. A lot of pro players go with just one, so. And it looks like Fuzzy, he might be trying to just get rid of his Mutas, but he doesn't really have a big bank. So even if he frees up some supply, he can't really replace it with anything too useful since he doesn't have a ton of money. We do see 35 Banelings on the way though, so it looks like that's going to be his answer. So just more mutiling Baneling. He's still in 5 bases, but this is primarily just for the gas. This fourth base has been up forever, and it's just not even near saturated. So nearly fully saturated, I should say. And my fourth base is just not coming up. Whenever you get some breathing room against a Zerg, or whenever you have the superior army, just go ahead and try to take a fourth base. It's really that simple. He has he has 2 Overseers. You can still try to snipe these, but it is a little bit risky when he has Banelings. If he had Infestors, I would definitely say do not try to, but he does not, obviously. And with 100 and a little bit over that of energy, Vortex could be going down, and I do get all of the Banelings, and putting in any high HP units, you can see my Colossus even went in there, just to absorb the Baneling hits is actually worth it. Especially Immortals. If you have Immortals, definitely throw them in there. But while I had that opportunity, I did snipe his 4th base, which I thought he was only on 4 bases at this time. I didn't really have adequate scouting in this game. But nevertheless, my mothership does go down. All his Banelings also die, which is sort of their intended role. But he really didn't kill enough with that push. If we look at the units lost, he has lost so much more. And that's because I've had the Defender's advantage. I've had just superior units since I played Protoss. I'm joking, kind of, not really actually. And now clearing out his 4th base, it looks like I might back out. You can see I had no proxy pylons, which was pretty bad. Even just having a warp prism is nice, just so you don't even have to worry about getting those proxy pylons. A little bit of Ling's going to be running through. I don't know if this is so much to do damage as it is just a scout, but doing damage he will do. Pretty bad way to say that. Anyway, a huge flock of Mutas. How many is this? 28 Mutalisks are going to be swooping into my natural, and this is one of those situations as Protoss where you don't really have too many ways of dealing with this. High Templar is basically your only option, but then again, you really need like at least 2 at each base, and that's just impractical. So my death push is going to be marching into his natural base. I realize this is just a complete base trade. Even though my Stalkers have much better upgrades, there's just way too many Mutalisks at the moment, even though they are getting picked off slowly. And it looks like the Colossus Stalker push is working just its way everywhere. Infestors finally get on the field, but they're getting killed as they spawn. Otherwise known as a spawn kill. Not really relevant in StarCraft, but a lot of Mutas in the red. It would be nice to focus fire those, but I'm just considering I'm just really trying to warp in as many units as possible. And good status update right there. But yeah, he's going to keep on cleaning out these Stalkers, but he has lost about half his Mutalisks. His main base is going down, his Expos are going down. I still don't know about this 5th, but honestly, how good is one base going to do you when all your production is dead? So, there's the GG. I was really happy with this win. As you can see, this game goes on for another minute, because I was just like, celebrating to myself. But yeah, there it is. Actually, I do want to see one thing. I didn't actually check this during the replay because I completely forgot. But I just want to go back and see. Excuse me. I just want to go back and see just exactly how cost effective these zealots were. The reason being is this is one of those plays that could work just because players don't really know how to respond. And as Zerg, that's like the most important thing to playing that race well, is knowing what to respond with at different times in the game. So Fuzzy did correctly have his roach horn down. He did correctly get roaches up. He didn't really get them too quickly because I guess he didn't really realize this was coming. But we can see it's hitting at exactly the 8-minute mark. And units lost tab is up. It looks like I did lose one pylon because I canceled it, and a probe maybe. I think that's what happened. But here we go. So just keep in mind that I had already lost 75 minerals before this attack. And that'll end up looking like 675 before, after this is all said and done. But here we go, hacking away some drones is always nice. If you can, tell your zealots to attack some drones, like individually, like focus fire is the word I'm looking for. If you can tell your zealots to focus fire some drones, like you see right here, it is always good. But Fuzzy realized that was happening, and so he was trying to mess with the AI as much as possible. Resources lost is gonna be pretty much even. Yeah, wow. Keep in mind it was 75-0 before that started. So if we pause the game right here, this is for both of us. Trust me, I want to see this too. I do have a worker lead. So now the spending tab is gonna show him in the lead, I believe. Will it? Yeah. Okay, but he just actually it's flipped. Technology and army is flipped. The reason technology is so far ahead is because 2 attack upgrades as well as the Robo, the Stargate, and the Twilight. So basically, instead of spending on army, I spent on technology. I already said that. Anyway, my point is that was still pretty effective. You can see the supplies are way ahead for him, but honestly, the only way you can utilize his supply lead is to do some sort of huge counterattack. But if you feel like that could happen, I just want to see exactly how it did respond. If you feel like that could happen, yeah, just throw up 1 or 2 cannons and just chrono out Immortals and get your Void Ray out as fast as possible. Now, I always say I would always prefer going Phoenix first just for the scouting out of the Stargate instead of the Void Ray. But if you feel like you're going to be under pressure, the Phoenix doesn't really do a whole lot for you. So chrono out maybe 1 or 2 Void Rays. So yeah, enough said. That was the PvZ build, my best matchup, I'm not going to lie. And I just want to show you guys how it works on the top of the top level of StarCraft 2. So thanks for watching, guys. Good luck on ladder. Hopefully PvP or something is coming next, I don't know. Sorry about not having a ton of videos out lately, but hopefully that will change. And hopefully I can do a couple a week at the very least. So thanks for watching, guys.